Hello everyone, and welcome to my Halloween finale. While I was planning exactly what I wanted to do for this week's video, I threw around a couple ideas, all based on Halloween. I thought about costumes, I thought about fall festivals, I thought about trick-or-treating, and I thought about the insane amounts of candy that we all go through each year. But it's when I kind of honed in on my more adult Halloween experiences that the perfect place and the perfect story really inspired the perfect piece. So sit back, enjoy watching me create this multimedia piece and listening to the spooky, scary history of the one and only
Sloth's Furnace.
In 1881, Colonel James Withers Sloss formed his own company, the Sloss Furnace Company, and began building Birmingham's first blast furnace. Located on 50 acres in what would become the heart of downtown Birmingham, the furnace quickly got to work, producing nearly 25,000 pounds of high-quality iron in its first year alone. This rapid production earned Birmingham the nickname the Magic City, and this Magic City would be known for its iron and steel throughout the country, supplying materials for the surrounding areas as well as for New York skylines and automobiles being built in Chicago. In the last remaining years of the 18th century, another local started to make a name for himself, and the local's name was James Slag Wormwood. Legend goes that Slag was a complete slave driver of a foreman, pushing his crew of nearly 150 workers to dangerous risk and forcing them to speed up production with very little thought of their health and safety. Between the hellish boss, the well-known sweltering summers of Alabama, and the constant workload, life was made a living hell for workers at Sloss. Alongside countless accidents and mishap, a total of 47 workers lost their lives while Slag was in charge. Many of those who were lucky enough to be alive still left with debilitating injuries. One such incident occurred in 1888 when a small explosion in the engine room left 6 workers burned blind. For these souls, there was no rest, no breaks, no holidays. There was only the furnace and its constant hunger for more coal. In October of 1906, Slag met his untimely end. In the late hours, Slag found himself uncharacteristically on top of the largest blast furnace, Big Alice, where he quickly lost his footing and fell into the molten metal. What most people find intriguing is the fact no worker could ever recall seeing him on the walkway of the furnace in his entire years of working here, leading many to believe that his workers had finally had enough and tossed him to his death, taking the truth to their own graves. As the years went on, an unnatural presence was felt throughout the property, and over the years many mishaps and incidents took place. In 1926, a night guard sustained injuries after being pushed from behind and told angrily in a deep voice,
"Get back to work."
The man, upon searching the grounds, could find no sign of any other living person on the property. After Slag's demise, the graveyard shift was quickly discontinued. However, Sloss would continue production into the 1970s. In 1947, 3 supervisors turned up missing. They were later found unconscious and locked in a small boiler room in the southeastern part of the plant. None of the 3 could explain what had happened to them, but they all agreed they were approached by a man whose skin appeared badly burned, who angrily shouted at them to
push some steel.
Probably the most well-known and horrific story comes from the night watchman, who was nostalgically walking around one of his final shifts. As he was walking around, he quickly found himself face to face with, quote, the most frightening thing he had ever seen. He described it simply as an evil, half-man, half-demon who tried to force him up the stairs. When the night guard refused, the monster began to beat on him repeatedly with his fist, suddenly disappearing into the flash of the night. Upon examination by a doctor, the night guard was found to be covered with intense burns, and although he did not die of his burns, he never returned to Sloss before he passed away. In the modern century, Sloss Furnace has become a national landmark, hosting events from educational programs, weddings, art and music festivals, and most notably, Sloss Fright Furnace. Over the last 25 years, Sloss Fright Furnace has created some wonderful scares, has brought new attraction, and has kept the legend and the lore of Sloss's great history going throughout the community and throughout the world, being featured on shows like Ghost Hunter, where we even had Meatloaf show up. So just to explain the piece in detail from me, this is a version of my cat skull design done as a pumpkin, featuring the Sloss water tower in the background, and then the very background, which was done in acrylic paint, is a starry forest night scene. I used a mixture of Arteza watercolor paints and multiple brands of acrylic paints to create this piece, also with some different fine liners and whatnot, but the bulk of it was the Arteza watercolor paint on the cat skull pumpkin and the water tower, and then the acrylic paint was used to make the background. The black was covered in I think it's technically a hollow rainbow sheen, and I thought the cool idea was it would look like stars, like multicolor stars. This was my first time drawing trees Bob Ross style, and although they're not perfect, I was so happy with how they came up. Those were the best looking trees I've made in my entire life, and I was just so happy. I am currently in the middle of filming next month's videos, and I've mentioned it in the comments, but I'll mention it here as well. I am changing my schedule just a little bit. So I think what I've decided is the first and the third Friday of the month, I will have a quote-unquote planned video that has a theme, and then the remaining weeks will either be breaks where I may just not have a video posted, or they'll be low budget videos, meaning they might be a vlog, it may be just some speed paints, it may be me testing out a product. It's just not going to be as planned out as the other ones. And with that, here's the final piece. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this mixed media piece. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to see when I upload videos, especially with the schedule change. That being said, I hope you have a great weekend and a happy Halloween. See you in the next video. Bye, guys.